in these international meetings, it is needed that these countries can express themselves about the trials, about heroin under control, the tolerance of legalizations, to see the different results that can be achieved. With this International League Anti-Prohibitionist and with some other friends, organizers of this conference, I think that it is necessary, is mandatory to unite ourselves, to stick together for two initiatives. One political initiative to give support the position of our representatives, and the same text of this resolution can be signed for everybody. As an example, in the basing of the Radical Party, I hope some other social movements can do the same, go out from the shadows, go on the streets, and to set the proposals so that the people will become well acquainted with its content. And this can be proposed to the governments to make the changes that are necessary. The international conventions do not recognize any possibility of the medical use of cannabis. So they classified it in the same category as heroin. But the OMS, the WHO, the experts of that, they have established a relation of all the drugs. This clearly stated that the cannabis was less dangerous than the alcohol and tobacco, and they have prohibited the publication of such a statement because the prohibitionism cannot say something that goes against its own nature. They do not follow the scientific research, the truth. The war against drugs is, as a first thing, is a war against the truth, against reality about the problem of drugs. Therefore, we have to propose those countries, most advanced-minded countries, some changes, the reclassification of the coca leaf, the marijuana, and so that it will be legalized, the consumption of these drugs for personal use. There is a direct relation that exists between the national policies and the international policies. I come from Italy, and in Italy, the Radical Party collected 700,000 signatures to make void this thing. The Italian Constitution permits to establish referendums. The Italian people voted. Well, it's not the moment, it's not the right time to face this democratic confrontation. I think that we have won the 42% of the Italian citizens. They have voted for the depenalization of the use of drugs. After, we have picked up some other time 700,000. This time for the legalization of drugs. The Constitutional Court in Italy has said it's not possible because the referendum cannot go against international treaties. Therefore, we are not going to let the Italians to do whatever they want, even in a referendum, because there are some international treaties that forbids that. I think that this is a link with some other countries, because our culture is quite common. I think that they consider that it was an abuse of our own constitution. It is the international pressure that does not let, from the political point of view, that the politicians say we cannot do anything because there are some international agreements. This is the reason by which the struggle, the national struggle, of our joint international movement about drugs, it is a fundamental, it's a very relevant thing. I am not a pessimist, but I am not optimist either. I think that we have good reasons. They are many, they are sufficient to win this struggle. Because if it was enough to have good reasons, maybe 40 or 50 years ago, the work of the prohibitionists have been facing a failure. It wouldn't be the first time in the world that the people that has good reasons is the people that is set aside, the people that is kept out of politics, out of debates, out of discussions. We have good reasons, and we are going to demolish that. We have good reasons by the fact that this prevents us from talking about these, our good reasons. Then we have good reasons, but if those reasons are not transformed in action, democratic actions, in favorable actions or violent actions, maybe I will be one weekend in the jail with more 30 radical colleagues, and will be persecuted because of civil disobedience for the public distribution of cannabis on the streets. We call the police to arrest us. In this way, the people can be witnesses of our actions. Instead of trying to arrest the criminals, they are trying to arrest the cannabis consumers. So the instruments of democratic instruments, international actions, meetings, I think that is the only way to be successful. It is the only way to make our good reasons can be transformed in new and better laws. Laws of freedom, of respectful to the human being, laws that cannot be used by dictators and terrorists from all over the world, that cannot be used to exercise pressure on our governments. Thank you very much.